major topic that we're going to talk about this semester is probably going to be solutions. All right. I would like to have time to hit some acid-based topics, but it'll just depend. It's going to be a crapshoot. Maybe. We are going to hit the highlights of nuclear chemistry because those are some fairly easy questions that you guys can get right, but acids and bases will be touch and go. Now, does anyone remember the two parts of solutions from another science class? They start with S's. Something's dissolved in something else? Nope, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Solute and solvent.
There you go.
Good job.
Okay. We got a solute and a solvent. All right. The solute is the material that is dissolved, and the solvent is the material that does the dissolving. Now, oftentimes when we talk about solutions, the easiest example to give of a solution is always Kool-Aid. It's the classic example of a solution that textbooks and teachers use. Everybody's drank it, made it, can relate to it. Okay. Now, when you think of Kool-Aid, most people can relate to some type of sugar mix in water, right? So, what would be the solute? And then what would be the solvent?
The solute would be Kool-Aid.
The solute would be the Kool-Aid or the sugar mix. And so what would be the solvent? The water. Okay? And generally speaking, water is the universal solvent. Okay? If you've done anything with a real science teacher in middle school, you've had that conversation. Okay? Unless you managed to have a substitute for 3 years. You had that conversation. And I doubt you all managed to get a sub for 3 years. Okay? You had a sub for 3 years?
Oh, I did. I had a bad teacher.
Well, you might have had a bad teacher, but I can't imagine you had a substitute for 3 years.
My teacher fell off the mountain.
Your teacher fell off what?
Oh. Ooh. I forgot his name.
Mr.
Warren.
Yeah, we remember Mr. Kirk.
No, Mr. Warren.
Yeah.
Mr. Warren, what has two sleeves? Oh, yeah.
And he missed the semester because he fell off a mountain?
He missed most
The
of
whole
the
year.
year. He broke his back. He was there when I was there.
Really?
I
All
thought
right,
he
then.
had another job. Yeah.
I made a lot of teachers quit and
I thought he had another job with his. Oh, he told me.
The sophomores this year.
All right, then. Okay.
we made a lot
Now.
of teachers quit.
There are all kinds of ways that we could classify solutions. They don't just have to be Kool-Aid mix, all right? For example, air is a solution, all right? So if we talk about the solute for air and the solvent for air, for example, what is the major component in air? Anybody remember from our science class? Now, we're not populated by subs too terribly much at the high school, so don't tell me you had a sub for the whole semester.
Wait, isn't it? It's like, oh, I forgot.
Really, y'all don't know what makes up most of the air in the room. Leandra, you are in AP Environmental Science. Come on, baby. What makes up most of the air in the room? The air that we breathe in the room. What makes up the major component? I'm just asking for the major component, not all of the components. What is the major one? Nitrogen. All right. 78%, roughly 77 to 78% of all the air in the room that we're breathing is nitrogen.
We're dying.
All right. So what is the next major component of the air in this room?
It's not.
It's what?
I said carbon dioxide. Is it not?
No.
It's not.
We need it to sustain life. What? Oxygen. All right. Roughly 21% of the air in the room is oxygen. Roughly 1% is the carbon dioxide and the other crap that y'all listed. Okay. 78 and 21% make up the oxygen and the nitrogen. The rest of it we generally classify as trace. So because 78% of it is nitrogen, that's the solvent, 21% is the solute. So you can have mixtures or solutions that don't have water in them. All right. If we talk about rubbing alcohol, for example, isopropyl alcohol, which is just plain old rubbing alcohol. For those of you who don't know that. All right. If you buy it at, I don't know, go to Farm Fresh, not Farm Fresh, we don't have that here. Food Line, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, whatever. You can buy it in 70%, 90%, or 50%. All right, we'll just assume that we're buying it in 70%. That's the most common if you go to the store and buy it. All right, if it's 70% alcohol, what's the other 30%? What is the other stuff? It's water. All right, so what's the solvent? It's the alcohol, because 70% of it is alcohol. So what is the other 30%? The 30% is the smaller amount, so it is the water. Okay? Now, if you buy something like a soft drink, some type of soda, soft drink, juice, anything like that, all right? The major ingredient in those things are what? Is it going to be the solute or the solvent, the sugar? It's the solute. It's dissolved. All right. And what about the solvent? Still going to be the water. Okay. Now, so examples of solutions don't have to be a solid dissolved in a liquid. That's my only point in that. Now, we're going to talk about various types of solutions, but today I want to talk about electrolytes. Okay?
That's in Gatorade.
It's in Gatorade. Gatorade would be a great example we could put here. Still going to be sugar and water. Do y'all need something? The survey already had one senior. Take it. We only have one senior.
It's not for seniors. Not for seniors.
Still, what do you want?
Well, at least.
You can have Tevin and Hyro. They're useless anyways.
How you gonna choose?
All right. How did I choose? I just did. What'd you say?
That you are.
All right. So electrolytes. There you go, Salma. Tevin or Hyro said he didn't want to do it.
Wait, what is it?
So there's another useless one for you. Salma can do it.
I miss you. I don't miss your class, I miss you.
Salma, go ahead.
Hey.
Now, what's an electrolyte? An electrolyte, you're going to be able to do this on the quiz tomorrow, is a compound that, when dissolved in water, conducts electricity. All right? It's a compound that when dissolved in water conducts electricity. Now, you're not going to have to give me the definition. You have to be able to identify the compounds that will conduct electricity.
Salt.
Salt is certainly an example, yes. So, what types of things are going to be electrolytes? Ionic compounds. So, an ACl is an example of that, yes. Acids are going to fit there. Does anybody remember how to tell if something's an acid?
There's the H.
Very good. Starts with H. And the last one are bases. Now, we talked about this way back. We wrote it on our reference sheet, and I told you we'd talk about it at the end of the semester. These end in OH. Now, this is a polyatomic ion. Anybody remember its name from the sheet? Bye, ladies. It is hydroxide, if you don't know its name. So anything that ends in hydroxide will be an electrolyte. Now, Gatorade is an electrolyte. So which one of those three do you think it falls in? It's an ionic compound. There might be something else in there, but it's predominantly an ionic compound. Are you gonna sit down up there? Are you gonna sit back down? Of course you did.
I thought that was a phone. I was like, so she's sick.
Is this like saying what,
What things are electrolytes? Yes. All right. So the opposite of this will be called non-electrolytes. So a non-electrolyte is a compound that, when dissolved in water, will not conduct electricity. So these are a little easier to do because there's only one category of compounds that fits here. So what category of compounds are going to fit here? Any ideas? I'll give you a hint. It's the opposite of ionic. Covalent. Okay, covalent compounds fit there. Compounds that, when dissolved in water, will not conduct electricity are covalent compounds. All right, we caught up? Because there's two things I have left that I skipped over.
So electrolytes have.
Yep. So in a swimming pool, in the summertime, why do you have to get out when there's an electrical storm or a lightning storm? Because there's what floating around? What do we dump in by the bucket load? Chlorine. So if lightning strikes at one end of the pool and you're at the other end of the pool, chlorine ions carry the current through the pool. We don't dump electricity. There's chlorine ions in there.
I didn't hear that.
The chlorine ions carry the current from one end of the pool to the other. We don't pour electricity in.
So if you get shot drinking together, does that mean that you're going to be?
Oh my God. No.
If you are swimming in a pool of, let's just say, Gatorade, and we throw in a large electrical appliance and it's plugged into an electrical outlet, yes, the Gatorade will carry the electrical charge from one end of that swimming pool to the other end and electrocute you, yes. Now, if you're swimming in a non-electrolyte, and like rubbing alcohol, and we threw in an electrical appliance, will there be any ions to carry the current from one end of the pool to the other? No, you would not be electrocuted.
I forgot which movie that was. The little girl.
Yeah, I did that.
What?
just a little bit. Now, we have to be able to tell the difference between a strong, a weak, and a non-electrolyte. A strong electrolyte is all ionic compounds. How do we recognize if something's an ionic compound? We are 2 weeks from the exam. Somebody in here better be able to tell me an ionic compound. Thank God somebody can. It's a metal and a non-metal. Those are the kinds of questions you should not get wrong on the exam if they say, which of the following is most likely an ionic bond? If you get those kind of questions wrong, you deserve a bad grade in my class for the semester.
You said what?
Okay.
Okay? Which of the following is most likely an ionic bond? If you see one of those on the exam and you look at your periodic table and you're like, I don't remember, is it a metal or a non-metal or is it two non-metals? And you're questioning that, you deserve a bad grade in my class. Okay? It's a metal and non-metal. All strong acids. There are 7 of them. I'm getting ready to tell you the 7. You have to memorize them. HCl, HBr, HI, H2SO4, HClO4, HClO3, I'm missing one, HNO3. Okay? Now, here's a shortcut to figure out if you have got a strong acid that may help you. There is a difference of 2 between H and O. Okay, sometimes that helps people who struggle with memorization. Now, it doesn't help you with the 3 that are binary. The only one that's not there is HF, because those are all halogens, right? You remember what I mean when I say a halogen? What group's a halogen? 17. So if you look at the halogens, you got Cl, Br, and I, right? Who's the only one I didn't pick out of that group? F. Okay? The other ones all have a difference of 2 or more between H and O. All right? And the last rule is all strong bases. All right? These are group 1 and group 2 metals on hydroxide. Now, everything else has a lot less. Weak electrolytes are weak acids. Now, the weak acids are really easy to identify. If they're not a strong acid, they're what? They're a weak acid. So essentially, if they're not one of those 7, they're what? They're weak. Weak bases are weak electrolytes. What did we already say non-electrolytes were? Just a second ago. Anybody remember? Covalent compounds. The only thing that makes this hard is looking at the strong electrolytes. So get that down and we're going to practice.
What does this say?
All group 1, all strong bases, group 1 and group 2 metals on hydroxide. Everybody got it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Helps if y'all respond.
Yes.
See if they're there. That's what I want right there. All right, so if we look at number one, what can you tell me about that compound? What do you see on the end? You see an OH on the end, right? All right, that OH right there should tell you I am a base. Okay? So, if it's a base, all we need to figure out is it a strong base or is it a weak base? Because if it's a base, it's an electrolyte. How do you know it's a strong one? Okay, so this right here tells me it's in group 1. Everybody okay with how Gabriel got us in group 1? So if you look at your rules we just wrote down, it's in group 1 and it's a base. So if it's in a group 1 base, is it a strong electrolyte or a weak electrolyte? All right, so it's a strong electrolyte. All right, HBr. All right, what can you tell me about it before you even tell me that piece? All right, it's got an H right here, so it's a what? It's an acid. All right, is it a strong acid or is it a weak acid? It's one of the 7 strong acids, so it's a strong acid, so that makes it a strong electrolyte. All right, what can you tell me about MgI2? Is it a base? Does it end in OH? Does it start with a hydrogen? So it's not an acid or a base. You're down to, is it an ionic compound or is it a covalent compound? How do you decide if it's ionic or is it covalent? It's a metal nonmetal or is it 2 nonmetals? Which one is it? It's a metal and a nonmetal. So it's a metal and it's a nonmetal. So that makes it a what? It's ionic. All right. So if it's ionic, it's what? It's strong. All right. Number 4. Does it have an OH on it?
No.
It's not a base. Does it start with a hydrogen? It's not an acid. Is it a metal and nonmetal or is it all nonmetals? All right, so it's all nonmetals. So it's a what? It's covalent. So it's a non-electrolyte. All right, what can you tell me about KBr? Does it have an OH? No base. Does it start with H? Nope, no acid. Does it have a metal and nonmetal or all nonmetals? So it's a metal and a nonmetal. So if it's a metal and a nonmetal, that means it's what? Ionic, so it's a what? All right. What can you tell me about number 6? All right, I hear covalent over there. So if it's covalent, it's what? It's a non-electrolyte. All right, for number 7. Starts with an H. That's good. So if it starts with an H, it's an acid. So is it a strong acid or a weak acid? All right. Now, if you don't know the 7, look at your H and your O. Does it have a difference of 2? No. If it doesn't have a difference of 2, it's weak. Okay, that's why I told you that rule. So if you're one of those people who doesn't memorize, it's not a difference of 2, so it's automatically a weak. So it's what kind of electrolyte? It's a weak electrolyte. Questions? Yay or nay? No. All right, I'm going to give you homework with that tonight. I'm not giving you homework on precipitation reactions. I gave you homework on that over the weekend. If you were not here and you want the practice sheet, it's here. I'll lay it there again. I'm not giving you that for actual homework. That was optional over the weekend. It's still optional if you think you need to practice before the quiz tomorrow. This, you need to practice with because it is part of the quiz. I think it's 25 or 30 points.
Well, we need one more.
So what?
We need one more.
You need one more? Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah. Huh? What? No, have a good time. Although, given that it's during third period, yes, I'd probably love to go. Who needs an extra?
You don't need permission slips. Come on, we're walking.
Well, you know, if I could avoid my third grade class, I'd go just about anywhere.
So we have a question with this and that. Alright. That's all.
And they would probably be thrilled if I went.
That's all.
What?
I have a question with this and
I'm gonna do the homework again.
Alright.
Go ahead, Hyro.
Oh.
Does he really think I believe him?
You got a quiz on both of these right here?
Yes.
Oh.
It's all on the same quiz. The first page is on
Yeah, that word.
what lab is on, dissociation, and this is on
How do you
back
say
page.
it?
Dissociation. Y'all need to be able to do the precipitation reactions, dissociation, and that tomorrow. The precipitation was in the lab. Yes, that's precipitation. I said, what do you mean, what is precipitation? Dissociation is just breaking it apart into atoms.
And that.
And this is tomorrow's last part of the quiz.